That is what we need to. Otherwise, everybody we talk about 80 to 88% of the energy comes from thermal fuel, coal. Now, countries have taken a pledge that by 2030 we will drop down by 60% of the coal consumption. The alternate fuel will be my source of energy. How much we have taken our really concerted efforts, or the really true, the efforts towards this direction. Very few people, very few mills can say, yes, we have put our earnest efforts and we have replaced by 10%, 15%, 25% of coal. Now today, I can say that in Indian mills, there are cases where 30 to 35% of the fuel is replaced by the natural sources, alternate fuel. Now the journey is not over. Now we need to look at it very effectively to scout for alternate fuel other than coal. Then the second thing is the clean hydrogen energy is now emerging. It is in a very nascent stage. Okay, green hydrogen and every clean hydrogen, that's in a very nascent stage. From our system, what I can do it in the factory? Think for alternate fuel. Then work for the boiler efficiency. There are boilers which are running even at 68 and 72% efficiency. Can we think of? We are talking about industry 4.0, we are talking about artificial intelligence, we are talking about everything. Let me look at the house first. A boiler has to run at 82% efficiency. If it is not happening, then due to what reason? Then what are the leakages of steam and instrument air and things like that is happening in the mill? When we have looked at, there are some presentations coming in, when we have looked at, the savings are phenomenal. It comes to 40 to 50 lakhs per annum. There are mills, losing this type of energy through air, through steam, through condensate, through various chemicals and other things going to the drain. Let's look at it. Now there are mills which are operating with 100% of electricity morning till late evening. Can we convert that some of the things to a transparent sheet technology? Then after that you will have to change that sheets, then after that you have to clean it. Now there are solar tubes available. In a closed stores or closed godowns and things like that, why don't you go for solar tubes? Don't when you burn energy, you use electricity only after 7 p.m. or 6 p.m. There are various ways of looking at, avoiding the use of electrical energy or conserving the electrical energy and doing energy conservation in every walks of your life, every sphere of the factory operation that we can do. The last, the important point what I would like to say here is, having done all this, where it was written like talent acquisition and the talent retention is a very big point today in the industry. First you have to attract the talent, then you have to nurture the talent, then you have to retain the talent also with you. That retention of the talent is not through fantastic and fancy increments and every second year or third year promotion and things like that. It's not so. And every guy is not only looking for that. The real talent retention will come from making them understand where they are good at, honing their true potential, and giving them the training and development opportunities, putting them on fast-track training, and then getting them ready. Do a job rotation, making them working in different departments of the mill, and identify them. And
delegates and sponsors, we will be having the opportunity to listen to more than 20 plus industry experts and the technology experts. So our heartfelt thanks from chairman side and from CII side to all the sponsors and exhibitors. I request everyone to please visit all the stalls. As I mentioned, there are about 20 innovative technologies which are ready to implement, and then that is another area which you can look into, and then you can consider implementing them. And then once again, thank you, Chairman and Vice Chairman. Thank you all the ladies and gentlemen for being part of this sustainability and net-zero initiative of CII. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
I think what we can do, we can Mr. D. Kannan, who is Vice President Commercial and takes care of operations in EID Perry. and Mr. Pradeep Mittal, Deputy Executive Director, Dalmia Bharat Sugar and Industries Limited. Both the gentlemen don't require any introduction. They are the veteran of the sector and acclaimed experts of biorefinery has come up in the sector, and as briefly I told just now, that sugar sector is evolving from sugar complexes to bioenergy hubs and now biorefineries. What is that concept? What does it mean? What are the salient aspects?
And I just welcome all the dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, and my friends. Already tone has been set by the in the previous session by chairman and co-chair by Mr. Thomas. I am just carrying forward this concept of biorefinery. What is there and what is included for us as a sugar industry to just increase our profitability and uses of our waste. And our biggest waste is bagasse. So this is what the biofuel we know till date. It is first generation we call from the grain or sugar. A diversion of the sugar, maybe you can thus have molasses into this. Second generation we call from the cellulose, lignin, hemicellulose like that, which we called, and we are having two plants as of now, one in Panipat and another one is HPCL at Assam. And third generation, we can say, it is not defined as well. I am just putting my classification of third generation into algae, microbes, gases like that. Now, what is biorefinery? From the concept, agri-biomass to be converted and forest industry biomass to be converted into the reliable biofuel, which can replace our this coexist fuel which is presently we are using into this. And it will mitigate climate change, reduce dependence on the fossil fuel and adjust to the changes in the market. Now, what are the questions we are just seeing? Although this has been
organizes a Green Sugar Summit every year. CII organizes Green Sugar Summit every year. And just a minute, our chairman is also coming.
The summit was started in 2013, so it's now been 11 years since we've been having it with the CII. It was basically a thing how to make our planet greener. Sugar, as we know, is sugar. If we see, how do we make ourselves more efficient? How do we make our environment better for us all? That was the main reason why we started this. Sugar, we all always said, used to use a lot of water, power. So we all sat and we said, okay, now what can we do next? How can we make sugar a world-class player? Indian sugar as such has been the most efficient in the world, but we have not ever been that green. So our environment, water was one of the things, water and air. So these were the two topics that we started off when we started in 2013. For 2024, world has changed. I mean, sugar itself has changed. If we see what we were 11 years back to where we are as of now, so many new things have happened. So now sugar is no more sugar. So we started with power, then we went to the blending with the OMCs in petrol. Now we are talking about compressed biogas. That is one thing which is already reality, which is happening in India. So that is one thing that we all have to, we can all contribute in a big way to make greener fuels for India. Secondly, aviation fuel. That can also be made by us. I mean, can you imagine that a sugar mill can actually give fuel in which we will run our aircrafts? So there are so many changes that we are seeing, and I would say that this summit is only for that. How to make our planet greener, better for all of us, for our next gens who are there. So I think the summit will actually be talking about all of these things. And that is the main reason why CII, and I would like to thank CII and the whole team to actually bringing this out even we didn't know. So even though I've been in sugar now for 30 years, company is about 92 years old, but we didn't ever think in that way. We were always just thinking, okay, sugar cane, then we make sugar out of it, make money, that's it. Environment is not one thing that we were actually thinking about. So this summit is only for that. How do we make India? I mean, if we also talk about Modi ji and in Corp 26, he said net neutral carbon is what India will be. And that is how sugar can contribute. And that is why we are all here just for that. And I would like Tamak Saab to add also on that.
So there are two things. One,
Used to, on an average, use 29.7 tons of steam to make 1 ton of sugar. Now we have come down to about 21.5. So we can actually see as to how much we have improved on that. Water is the other thing. Earlier we would use far more water in our boilers, in our process to make sugar. That is down by almost 1/3 than where we were 11 years back. So I think that these two things we have already achieved, but still a very, very far way to go. We have not achieved our full goal, and we are working hard on that. I think we can even become more efficient than what we are as of now. If you think about it, bagasse is a fuel that we have. So once we crush the cane, bagasse is the fiber which is left, which we burn in our boilers to make steam and power. If we can become more efficient and if we can save more bagasse, because bagasse is a green fuel, it is not a fossil fuel. And if we can save that much more bagasse, either with that we produce more power which is green, or with that we can also make paper, which we have always done. Prior to sugar mills making power, which started in 1991-2, we used to sell our bagasse to paper mills to make craft paper. So if we can save more, perhaps we can also make power and also make greener paper. Because as of now, the paper is basically made out of wood. So in case we can change that and save the forest a bit more at the same place, give the raw material to the paper mills, I think that we'll achieve both the goals. And that is the basic target that we have.
can you please give me some data related to Telangana, like how much rate of
We talk about it. The issue here is rainfall. Because in UP or in North India we have rivers, while Telangana and Andhra basically are dependent on rainfall. So here it varies a lot because the cane crop yield matters vis-a-vis rainfall. If the cane will not get rain at this right point of time, the cane yield just drop. So that's why we have seen that out here the cane growth has not been as much because of rainfall has been in some areas it's very high. Then we have flooding issues there. In some areas it's very low. So that's why in this state itself, sugar has not sort of gone up that much, but I think that the changes are happening right now. Vis-a-vis even in cane, whether we talk about drip, now we have all said, okay, now we don't need to have all of it, we can use drip irrigation. I think that we are in the cusp of a big change, where we used to always say that cane needs a lot of water. But I think that is going to change. It has already started to change and will change even more. Once we see that change, you will see that your state can become one of the very large manufacturers of sugarcane because you have the land. So there is no issue of land and you have very fertile land. So I think from that perspective, water will start playing a far lower amount, lesser role as we move on.
like approximate data is kind of good.
Telangana as of now is very, very small. If you see the whole of India, and we produce about 34 million tons of sugar, Telangana would be about about 0.5 million tons. So if you look at India, 34 million tons, if I say 340 crore, so if you see that becomes a very small part.
Is concerned, this summit is largely for factory-related efficiencies. That how can we reduce steam consumption, how can we reduce power consumption, how can we reduce water consumption in process, how can we minimize waste in our manufacturing process. So this is the basic objective, that how can we improve our resource use efficiency, and here so many technology providers showcase their technology and industry professionals come over here and discuss that what can be adopted to improve the efficiency. This is the basic objective of this summit. And due to these conferences and seminars, the efficiencies level have improved significantly over last few years. Now coming to sustainable sugarcane production, because that is also equally important. Here, industry bodies like Indian Sugar Mills Association, along with the respective state governments and central governments, are working in this direction. And the basic thrust is on three factors. One, how can we improve mechanization in agriculture, because labor scarcity is there. How can we improve water resource use efficiency by drip irrigation, micro irrigation? That is the second thrust area. And third, how can we introduce better varieties of sugarcane so that those are high yielder and farmers' income is also improved. So with these combined efforts, we are quite hopeful that sustainable sugarcane production will be achieved in times to come. And one more this thing, just to supplement what Gauravji has mentioned. Previously, about 30 years back, sugar factories used to produce sugar only. Later on, sugar industry started producing power out of cogeneration. And it is clean power. It is not fossil power. And then now, since last about 10-12 years, ethanol production has also increased significantly. Right now, about in our total petrol basket, about 13-14% blending is being achieved of ethanol, which is produced out of sugar-based feedstock. So this is a great achievement, and due to this is a cleaner fuel, and this is supporting the income of the farmers, and of course it is saving the foreign exchange as well. This is a wonderful program, and this is helping the nation as a whole.
That part goes. Government has been really proactive. I mean, if we even look at the blending that we have achieved, if we would have spoken about this 10 years back, no one would have ever believed. We started with E5. So 5% blending was the target, which was then achieved. Then we went to 10. And what Tamak Saab said, now we are at about 14. That is with grain also. And now the target is 25. I mean 25% blend in petrol, which the target was earlier till 2030. But we're all trying to see if we can achieve it by 2026 at least. So I think that government has been very, very proactive. They have helped, and even with CBG, they have come out with a full paper on that. So it's very clean. So it's very, very clear that government knows that the opportunity that sugar mills have, and as what is there, if sugar mills earn more, the farmers earn more, and we want them to earn more. The reason is not because I'm charity or whatsoever. If farmers earn more, see, the farmer's land he can use for any crop, while a sugar mill can only crush cane. So we want him to plant more cane so that we all get more cane. So that's why I think the government has helped us, and your question that we are on the right path. Lots more to do, but vis-a-vis government, we all are always in dialogue. Almost like every week we'll call for meetings, and I think that in the next 2 years you will see that we will reach from 14 blend to 20 blend for sure. I mean for sure.
Correct.
Industry, and every year we are conducting this paper tech, and CII and IPMA, they are organizing this event. The main purpose is to educate and share our knowledge in the paper industry people, to upgrade them, what is happening around the world, and as well as what we have to do to equip ourselves to become world class. So we are sharing a lot of technology innovations.
Sir, will you be a bit loud, Srikanth? Yeah, a bit louder.
We are sharing a lot of technology developments, and also the process changes, the legal requirements, and also the changing scenarios in the energy sector, water sector and environment. What is happening and what we have to do. These are the main topics we are going to discuss in the next 2 days seminar, and we start with the inaugural session, which will include all the CEOs of paper industry, and also this paper tech is clubbed with IPMA meeting, where all the CEOs will participate. So we are getting a lot of inputs from them, what will be the direction for us to move ahead. to become globally competitive. And paper industry as such is a very noble industry. All you know that this is a recyclable product. It can be recycled 6 to 7 times without losing its property, whereas other products cannot be recycled to this extent. Now the paper industry, we can see that about 70-75% is recycled based, and about 21% is wood based, and 8% is on recycled fiber based. So this is the growth of industry, and in India particularly, paper industry is going by 6 to 7%, whereas the global growth is only 3%. There is a lot of opportunity in India to grow. And
Indian paper industry growth, as Mr. Ganesh was saying, it's around 6 to 7%, and globally it's around 3 to 4%. And actually, it could have been much better and higher. Just because of the COVID scenario, and after COVID scenario, there are a lot of geopolitical tensions and issues, due to which, the last 3 years we have been going through a lot of, supply chain and logistic issues and raw material availability issues, and all these things are, putting a strain on the paper industry. And that's the reason the growth is 6 to 7. Otherwise, could have been comfortably 10 to 12% of growth for the paper and the packaging board segment in the country. That's how it was growing before COVID. Paper was growing at almost 7 to 8%, and packaging board was growing at 10 to 12%. Now suddenly we dropped by 30 to 40% or beyond. It is just because of the geopolitical scenarios prevailing in the globe. Now the point number 2 is this particular Paper Tech conference, the central theme is making the Indian pulp and paper industry world class. Because unfortunately the paper industry is associated with the kind of, the image, they are cutting trees or things like that, polluting industry or something like that, which is totally a myth. It is not so. When you talk about, we talk about the raw material, as rightly it was put that 75%, 60 to 75% of the raw material coming from the secondary fiber. This is a waste paper. And only 25% of the production is from the wood-based industry. And even in that wood-based industry, people should remember that when we harvest, we don't cut trees, we harvest trees. The way you harvest paddy, the way you harvest wheat, we harvest trees. 1 tree is harvested and we plant 4 trees. That is how the green cover is maintained. And second thing, people should always understand that paper industry is making the country green. And paper industry does not touch any conserved forest, or paper industry does not touch any identified forest cover of the country. Paper industry does plantation in the allocated lands or in the farmer's land, and it is also a kind of crop for the farmer. Then there is a buyback arrangement which is made with the farmer, that you grow the tree, we provide the clone, we give you the technology, you grow the tree. When the tree is grown, that we buy back at the market price, prevailing market price, from you we will buy. So it's a revenue scheme for the farmers. And when we do the plantation so extensively, 2 things which are happening parallelly. One is we are providing huge employment to the local community, and the second thing is we are making the country green. Point number 2, now we are talking about, in this conference, we are talking about digitalization. Taking the industry 4.0 or artificial intelligence to the next level in the Indian paper industry. How do we automate the plant and the processes to become more energy efficient, so that we have the greenhouse gas emissions under control, and we also work towards carbon neutral or net zero, or you can talk about decarbonization. So that is the central theme of this particular conference. How do we leverage the technology and then make the operations more efficient, and we also control the carbon dioxide emission in the atmosphere. And the various paper mills are participating in this particular program, and everybody gives the latest technology which is available from the machinery manufacturer side. And the chemical industry side, people try to give input on various chemicals which are available to control liquid pollution or gas emission and things like that. And also the paper mills are participating and sharing the best technology adapted in their paper mills, and how do they contribute to cleaner ambience or atmosphere in the Indian pulp and paper industry. It is a very good knowledge platform. They share their knowledge, they share their experience for overall technology enhancement and the upgradation of the Indian pulp and paper industry.
There are two things. One, you say there is a slump.
Your first question. There is a slump in the market, and always paper industry has experienced this sine curve, the sinusoidal one and the yo-yo pattern that we have experienced that. This time probably the dip curve is slightly longer. That is because of the geopolitical scenario. Otherwise, normally we have up and down trends, and we expect that what all the developments which are happening and the consumerism which is happening and the population which is growing, and also the thrust on the educational sector, it is trying to keep the pulp and paper industry or the paper and board industry alive. And the expectation is that by end of this academic year or a calendar year or the professional financial year is April to March. We are thinking that in the last quarter, Jan, Feb, March, things are supposed to improve, and we are expecting an upward trend in the demand as well as in the paper industry performance. And the second one is when you talk about the artificial intelligence,
What percent growth are you looking to grow that this year, and what value, market value is it?
we are expecting at least a growth of 8 to 10%. Now we are at 6 to 7% and 8 to 10%. And in terms of the volume, we are talking about today 22 to 23 million tons, and we are expecting that it should go up by at least 27 to 30 million tons.
No, just I want to.
First question only.
Pardon?
The world is going towards paperless things.
This question. If you consider the per capita consumption of a paper, at present it is 16 to 17 kgs, whereas the global standard is 57 kgs, and in some of the countries it is more than 230 kgs per capita. Considering the growth in population and the GDP growth, it is expected to grow, and by last in 8 years, our growth has almost 12% in per capita consumption. But it is expected to grow, and as Mr. Krishnan was mentioning, it is more than 10% growth it will happen. Even though the digitization is becoming more and more popular, paper cannot be replaced in some of the areas, and people prefer to use paper because of so many advantages over the electronic media. And some scientific study also reveals that reading is more beneficial than going through the e-media because of its impact on the eye and also the retention of knowledge, etc., etc. So the paper industry growth will be there, even though there is a substantial growth in the digital technology. It cannot replace the paper.
Let's talk about in a simple term. The artificial intelligence or machine learning or the industry 4.0, it's all various terminology or the nomenclature given to these. Ultimately, it is all talking about simple to complex automation levels. In the paper industry, you have got so many unit operations. Now, all these unit operations are DCS controlled, and you have QCS systems also. And all these things, they have end devices, the hard sensors. Then all these sensors, they talk between each other. Then you have the DCS loops which are controlling the process and then giving you the output. And when it is auto-controlled, there is no manual control, it is a manual operation. When you are talking about controlling, it is auto-control. You have the consistent output coming from each section. Now what we are talking about in AI platform or Industry 4.0 platform is, all these sections have to be integrated. Then the overall mill or the overall factory is well connected. And then you see everything, the entire performance is seen as a one dashboard. It is seen in one progress record or progress card type of thing with the dashboard and the parameters which are live getting updated. And then you see the overall performance of the plant live in a dynamic situation. Now today companies have, let's say, multiple factories. And unless they have these unit operations getting connected, and then they see one report as a factory report. Like this, four factories are operating. Then the 4 reports are given in a simple dashboard and well connected. That is called the agile manufacturing today or swift manufacturing today. That is where the entrepreneurs or the owners or the CEOs, they are attempting for today. Instead of going to each location and monitoring and controlling things, they get everything on one computer screen or in one iPad as a business intelligence report or a dashboard. They see, all the 4 factories or 5 factories and all the parameters are seen and the performance record is seen, and that's how they are all getting connected. You can call it as a smart factory or agile manufacturing and so on and so forth. That's the reason, and that's the path forward that the industry is taking for.
And this decision, it will help you in making the decisions very fast. When you are playing with so many variables and the data, it helps in integration and also to take the decisions very fast. But it will not replace the paper.
Absolutely.
My name is Anil Sutar. I am a business head for VT Corp. VT Corp is basically a company who is into air pollution control segment, as well as we are into packing and bagging segments. So in electrostatic precipitator business, we are doing electrostatic precipitator, which is generally used for particulate matter emission control. And particulate matter emission control has a presence in the industry segment like captive power plant, then cement industries, steel industries, then sugar industries. Generally in sugar industries there is a biomass fired boiler, and whenever there is a biomass fired boiler, there is a dust outlet coming out of the boiler, and which is being precipitated in the electrostatic precipitator. And we have presence globally. It is not only in India, but we have a presence in Southeast Asia. In Southeast Asia we cover Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Philippines to some extent. And in addition to that, we also have a presence in South America. In South America, we have our installations in palm-fired boiler. Similarly, in Southeast Asia also we have a presence in palm-fired boiler. As far as India is concerned, I will just quickly go through our presentation in the form of this posters. What we have covered here. See, you can have a look at it. This is the electrostatic precipitator. Okay, the dust comes from here. This is the inlet, and there is a precipitation over here, and this dust-free gas comes out of this electrostatic precipitator, and it is given to the chimney. So that is how this electrostatic precipitator works. As I said, that we have presence in various segments, like in palm industries, palm-fired boilers. There is a electrostatic precipitator application. Then sugar industries also. There is a bagasse which is generated out of this sugar manufacturing. So in sugar industry also we have a good presence. Then in addition to that, power segment. In power segment, there is coal-fired boilers. So coal-fired boilers which generates dust, and that is being precipitated. Then, as I said, we have a global presence. So it is not only in India, but you can see across the globe. You can see Crop Powercon, not Crop, this VT Corp presence. we have over 650 installations of electrostatic precipitator. Our electrostatic precipitator is not only a rebuild or new build, but it is only it is not only in rebuild, it is not only in new build, but rebuild also. Rebuild means electrostatic precipitator retrofit application. So at present, suppose if some plant is having ESP giving 100 mg per nm cube, and there is a change in pollution control norms, and in order to take care of the recent norms, we are able to do the ESP retrofit by way of doing mechanical modifications or addition of certain mechanical things. So that is how we are upgrading the ESP for bringing down this emission further.
One and all, this is Dinesh from Danus. We are here today at Hyderabad Energy Efficient Summit. I welcome all the delegates, visitors to our stall. And today we are exhibiting our products from Danus. Danus is a Danish-based company, and we are into drives, we are into cooling solutions, we are into power solutions. And today at Hyderabad that we are displaying our drive solutions, we have different drive series ranges, starts from 0.25 kilowatt to 5.5 megawatt. And we are one of the leading drive supply manufacturers across globe. And yes, we had plans to reveal our new product, which is IC7. Today, you could see in the display that how sleek it is. We had plans to reveal it today to our customers here in India, and people who are visiting to this Energy Efficient Summit can witness the product by today. Thank you so much. Hi, yeah, this is a product called Turbocore compressors. This compressor is actually totally oil free, and it is actually like working in a magnetic bearings. Means that there is no wear and tear. So which means there is no mechanical stress on the bearings, which actually extends the life of the compressor. So once this compressor has been installed at your place, it is actually totally maintenance free. You don't have to think about maintenance at all.